All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice question series where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Like, subscribe, and share. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. A shipping supervisor wants to increase the number of products shipped per hour by his employees. He sets a goal that employees must not leave their workstation prior to their allocated break time. If they don't leave their workstation, they receive an extra 10 minutes on break. What procedure does this resemble? So we have a differential reinforcement question. And with the differential reinforcement question, you always want to ask yourself first, are we teaching an alternative behavior? Because if we're teaching a replacement or alternative behavior, then this is going to be a DRA or a DRI, an incompatible or alternative differential reinforcement procedure. If we're not teaching a replacement, then it's going to be a DRO, a differential reinforcement of other behavior. So let's look at what we know. We know the supervisor wants to increase products shipped. So he tells the employees, you cannot leave your workstation prior to your break time. If they don't leave, they get reinforced. Is the shipping supervisor teaching any replacement behavior? No, he's setting a standard of what can't be done or what behavior he doesn't want to see. So no matter what else the employees are doing, as long as they're not leaving their workstation, they're going to get reinforcement. And so when we are reinforcing for the absence of a behavior or for a behavior not occurring, what are we using? A, differential reinforcement of other behavior. Yes, the DRO procedure focuses on the absence of behavior, meaning when a behavior doesn't occur, the person or the learner gets reinforced. We're not teaching a replacement necessarily. We're not concerned with what they're doing instead. We're just concerned with other behaviors happening. In this case, as long as the employees don't leave the workstation, they receive reinforcement. Now, if we look at B and C, incompatible and alternative, these are situations where we are teaching replacements. Incompatible, of course, is a replacement behavior that can't occur with the old behavior. And alternative behaviors is the new behavior can occur. It's just a replacement. In this case, since we're reinforcing for a behavior not happening, we're using a differential reinforcement of other behavior procedure. A factory supervisor concerned with his employees' productivity wants to decrease idle time by implementing a system where employees receive a 10-minute break every 2 hours, regardless of whether they are actively working or not. What type of schedule is the supervisor using? All right, this is a pretty simple basic reinforcement schedule question with a little bit of twist. So we're looking at the type of schedule. Let's start with what basic schedule, reinforcement schedule are we using? We know the supervisor wants to decrease idle time, where the employees receive a 10-minute break every 2 hours. So let's look at that first. Every 2 hours, you're getting a 10-minute break, regardless of if they're working or not. So this is kind of an extension of our previous question, right? Regardless of what they're doing, if they are working for 2 hours or if 2 hours pass, they get reinforced, right? Regardless of what they're doing. Every 2 hours, is that time or is that response-based? Well, it's obviously time, right? Once 2 hours pass, you receive reinforcement. So what basic schedule is based on time? Well, we have an interval schedule. And then, since it's not changing, it's every 2 hours over and over again, it's fixed. So we have a fixed interval schedule for sure. We know that. So if we look at the answer choices, we have A, contingent fixed interval schedule, and then you have B, non-contingent fixed ratio schedule, C, non-contingent fixed interval schedule, and then D, contingent fixed ratio schedule. Well, we already know it's a fixed interval schedule, right? It's based on time, an amount of time, and it's not changing. But we have to now look at it as a contingent or non-contingent. So if we think about contingent versus non-contingent, contingent means in order to get reinforcement, you must do something in particular. In this case, the employees are getting a break no matter what, even if they're working. It doesn't matter if they're working or not. So the break isn't contingent on anything. That makes it non-contingent. So we have a fixed interval, non-contingent schedule. So if we look at our answer choices, C, a non-contingent fixed interval schedule. This is a more challenging reinforcement schedule question, but make sure you're understanding how we got to fixed interval, right? It's a set amount of time, and it's non-contingent because no matter what, reinforcement is delivered, regardless of the behavior that is occurring. A nutrition coach finds that clients tend to follow dietary recommendations more closely when they are feeling hungry right before a session. She adjusts the scheduling so clients come in just before lunch to increase adherence to meal plans. What concept or manipulation is the coach using? Pretty straightforward motivating operation question here. Why? Well, with motivating operations, we're manipulating either deprivation or satiation typically. Deprivation means you're not getting enough of something, we're withholding something. Satiation means you've gotten too much of something. What do we know about this coach? We know the coach knows that her clients, when they're hungry, follow her recommendations more. So she wants the clients to be deprived of food. She wants them to be hungry. That way motivation goes up. She changes the schedule so the clients come in just before lunch. She doesn't want the clients to eat before they come to see her. So what is that nutrition coach manipulating? She's manipulating motivating operations. She's trying to get the clients in this state of hunger, in the state of deprivation, in hopes that that will increase the value of her dietary recommendations. So if you look at A, manipulating motivating operations, it's exactly what the coach is trying to do. She's trying to get the clients hungry, right? She wants them in that state of deprivation. Therefore, it's more valuable for them to follow dietary recommendations. She's not manipulating the discriminative stimuli. We don't necessarily manipulate discriminative stimuli, right? These are influenced by consequences. She's not implementing stimulus deltas. We're not having anything to do with the SDs and the stimulus deltas here. And she's not using differential reinforcement, right? She's not using reinforcement and extinction. She's simply using the fact that the clients are hungry to increase motivation to follow her dietary recommendations. So she's trying to manipulate motivating operations. An organization conducts a survey to understand employee satisfaction and identifies that a major concern is the lack of flexibility in work hours. Based on this data, the HR department decides to implement a flexible scheduling policy that allows employees to choose their start and end times as long as they work 7 hours straight. Which of the following choices is most like what the HR department used to make their decision? Okay, much more challenging ethics question as well. Questions were a little more challenging today. That's okay, right? We always want to be pushing ourselves a little more further and further. What is the HR department using to make their decision? Well, we know they conducted a survey on employee satisfaction, and they found a lack of flexibility in work hours is a problem. Based on that finding, the department implemented this flexible policy for the employees. Basically, HR took what the employee said and made it a goal or a new policy to better serve their employees. So how does that reflect on what we do in ABA? Is this the decision by HR based on cultural integration, client-informed goals, skill assessments, or functional analyses? Well, we know it's not a functional analysis, right? A functional analysis is when we're manipulating antecedents and consequences to discover the function of something. We're not really looking at functions here, and HR is not manipulating anything, right? This is still indirect data. What about skills assessment? Did HR go in and try to identify different skills? No. So really the only options here are cultural integration and client-informed goals. And since the survey was very indirect and didn't ask about the culture of the employees, they were simply looking for goals and targets based on what the employees were saying. And it's the same thing we do with client-informed goals. When we talk to our clients, we try to get an idea of what they want and what they're looking for, and then we do our best to make goals based on the information we get from the clients. You're driving to your hair appointment early in the morning when you look around and see all the other cars around you are slowing down. In response, you also immediately slow down. A few seconds later, you spot a police car sitting on the side of the road. You are doing what in response to the cars around you? The focus here is you. What are you doing in response to the cars around you? Because there's a couple different stimuli here, right? We have the car slowing down, and we also have the police car. But the question wants to know about you in relation to the cars slowing down. So if the cars are slowing down, and then you immediately do what they're doing, what are you engaging in? Are you modeling? You're not modeling, right? The cars that slow down are now the models. What you did was imitate. You imitated the cars slowing down. When you saw them slow down, you slowed down as well. It's obviously not shaping. You're not shaping anything. There's no approximations. And then you're not experiencing deprivation. We're not talking about MOs and abolishing operations here. It's a simple imitation question, right? You saw the car slowing down, and so in response, you imitated that same behavior. All right, thanks for watching. Some more challenging questions today. We tried to increase the difficulty a little bit today just to give you a little change up and try to push you a little further in your understanding of our concepts. If you did great, fantastic. If not, that's okay. That's why we practice. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Please let us know when you pass so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. As always, work hard, study hard, and we'll see you soon.